What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have a bit of a different one, as you can tell by the title. We're doing a tier list for all of the Rainbow Six Siege attackers, so let me know if you guys want to see some of those. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to be ranking these attackers by their ability, so that includes like Nomad's air jabs and, Montaigne's shield, Ash's breaching rounds, things like that. I will also be ranking them by their personal attributes. So Gridlock is fat and slow, Ash is really fast, and then I'll also be ranking them by their gun and their options. So IQ has 3 really good guns, Ash has 2 really good guns, whereas Sophia, her M762 had a really big nerf, so that's going to take away from her. I'm also going to be ranking them by practicality, so I'll also be basing the bans and how often each operator gets played. Jackal, Blitz, attackers like that, they just can't be in the S tier when you probably get to play them once every 6 or 7 games-ish. I'm going to be doing it just in alphabetical order by how this has it arranged, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now Ace, he has the Selmas, which are probably the best breaching option that you have in Rainbow Six Siege. You can do it from long range, you get 3 of them, they're really great. He also has the AK-12. So, with all that said, Ace will be our first operator in the S tier. Now keep in mind, all of this is subjective and objective, so, Ace is also one of my favorite operators, so don't flame me in the comments if, Takebi's your favorite operator and I put her in blank or whatever it is. Yeah, so just want to get that out of the way. Now we'll be moving on to Amaru. Now, I don't think anyone can really deny Amaru really has one purpose, and that is to rush. Rushing a lot of the time is not very successful unless it's done really well, but besides for that, her ability is just really a one-way street, and without that versatility, we're going to have to place Amaru in the D tier. Now we have Ash. Ash is an absolute classic. She has the R4C, which did see a really big nerf in recent seasons. However, she does have the G36C as an alternative to really great high-powered guns. She's also extremely fast. She has the breaching rounds. She's just all around a really great operator to have. And so with that, I'm putting her in the A tier. She'd probably be in the S tier if this was 2 years ago when her R4C was still overpowered. But honestly, with breaching rounds, you can get that with Sledge, you can get that with Buck. There's not a whole lot of versatility to it. So I think that Ash in the A tier is probably where she belongs. Blackbeard, we're not going to spend too much time with it. He goes in the E tier. Now, when he first came out, if there was a tier above S, that would be where Blackbeard was. That dude was just overpowered. He was unstoppable. However, he's just really not much to him now. He's got to be in the E tier. Following Blackbeard, we have Blitz. Blitz, again, if you're really good at playing him, then, he could be really good. However, he gets banned a whole lot, and it's also a shield operator. It's hard to play in today's meta. There's a lot of players that really know how to counter him now, and there's a lot of operators that are made to counter him now. Like, literally made to counter Blitz. So, honestly, I can't put Blitz anywhere above the E tier. Now moving on, we have Brava. Now Brava is a new operator. Her gadget basically will hack the defender's utility and turn it into the attacker's utility. Honestly, it's overpowered when you think about it, that you can just have your Brava drone go in and turn the Jaeger's ADS into your team's ADS, and whatever it may be, turning the Mozzie Pest into your team's Mozzie Pest. It's just kind of crazy. Although she doesn't really have a great loadout, she does have the Para assault rifle, which is a decent gun in my opinion. I have not had that much success with it. So honestly, I could totally see her being in the S tier if she had a better weapon loadout. However, due to that, we're going to place her in the A tier, which is nothing short of, it's still great, but honestly, I think the S tier is a possibility if she just had better guns. Now we have Buck. Buck is an absolute classic. He basically can break through any soft walls, kind of has the same ability usage as Ash does, except he has the shotgun skeleton key right on his gun. He has a whole lot more opportunities to breach through soft walls than Ash does. He also has a really great gun. Honestly, I think his marksman rifle is really good. But honestly, his Y8S2 is one of my favorite guns in the entire game. It's really great. So we are going to be placing Buck in the A tier. Now we have Capitao. Honestly, I am a fan of Capitao. I think his ability is really, really great. You know, being able to shoot your fire into a corner and draw out the defender and then be able to have a clear shot on them, using your smoke as well. Honestly, I think all in one, he's great, and he also has the Para rifle as well. However, I'm going to try to let my bias slide, and I know a lot of people really don't like Capitao. So due to this, I'm just going to place Capitao in the D tier. He's not really all that amazing. Like I said, the Para rifle really is nothing stellar, and I guess, you know, he does just have smoke canisters, which really there's multiple attackers who have that, and his fire, I guess, isn't all that great. So honestly, in my opinion, I think he's C or B. However, I do know that a lot of people don't love him, so we're going to place him in the D tier, and we're going to be content with that. Now we have Dokebi. Dokebi's not really an operator that I ever really got into. I never really played her a whole bunch. I played a lot of these operators. I mained them, I should say. I mained a lot of these operators at some point in time. Dokebi I really couldn't ever get into. Maybe it's just because I wasn't great at playing her. I do know her ability is pretty good if you are really good at it. Being able to sound their phones, the defenders' phones, you're able to hear the defenders, and they're also not able to get on cams, and then you're also able to steal the defenders' cams. I think that's a really, really great, you know, asset that she does have. However, I don't think her loadout is all that great, and honestly, I think that Dokebi is B tier material. Now we have Finka. Honestly, I don't really love Finka's spear gun that she has. Her LMG is a little bit better, but also lugging around an LMG in this game really is just never an ideal scenario. I think her ability is pretty good, having a low health boost, a recoil boost, being able to revive. However, she just really doesn't have much to her. She's not really a part of the meta these days, so I think Finka belongs in the C tier. She's not bad, but she's really not great. There's nothing really too amazing or stellar about her. Now we have Flores. I feel like Flores was really, really good when he first came out. Just, I guess, a few years ago now. But I feel like as the meta's changed and as people have gotten a lot better at countering him, he's really not as great. So I think that putting him in the B tier is more than fair. He has an okay loadout, but honestly, it's really nothing crazy like how you have with IQ or Ash or anything like that. So I think Flores belongs in the B tier. He's really good for getting, you know, the wall and, you know, getting the bandit charges, and besides for that, he's a really big target. It's easy for the defenders to shoot him, so he definitely does not belong above that B tier, but I think that's right around where he should be. Now, Fuse really is only good when you're on a objective, or when you're attacking an objective rather, where there is a soft ceiling above, and honestly, he's really not that great even when there is that scenario. So I think he's good. All right, he's good when there is that scenario where there's a soft ceiling, but honestly, like, it's hard. You know, there's roamers that are just able to easily pick you off, and you know there's like a 6-second cooldown. You know, the defenders hear the noise, the clicking from the fuse charge going off, and they have plenty of time to run away. They have plenty of time to run to the out of the objective. So honestly, I think Fuse just belongs in D, and he also gets banned a lot, so I don't really think he's anything that's too reliable or too amazing. Now we have Glaz. I have seen some absolutely cracked Glaz players, but honestly, I think there's no denying that Glaz really doesn't have a whole lot special to him. All he can really do, he has that thermal scope, and you know, he's great on coastline. You're able to sit on ruins and whatnot, but honestly, like, there's not really a whole lot to him, so I think that Glaz belongs down there with Blackbeard and Blitz in the E tier. Now, Gridlock isn't bad, but she's really, really, really not good at all. So I don't think she belongs in that E tier, but I see Finka is definitely better than Gridlock in every way. And Gridlock really doesn't have a great gun. She's big, and she really can't get around the map all that easily. So I think Gridlock belongs in D. However, I like the occasional Gridlock pick here and there. It's good for some scenarios. It's good if, you know, you plant it, you can throw your Gridlock spikes. It's good if you're trying to block the flank, but honestly, it's just all around. It's not a great operator to have. If a rando on my team in ranked picks Gridlock, honestly, I'm not feeling that great in that scenario. So I think Gridlock belongs in D, but she doesn't need to be disrespected enough to be put in E. I think that's fair. Now, Grim, I love Grim. Like, honestly, I didn't love him before the buff, so I guess you could say I'm a bandwagon for that. But he's been like, ever since that buff, he's been really, really good. He's honestly, at the beginning, he was overpowered. Now it's kind of all the hype has dwindled. But honestly, I could totally see, Grim being in the B tier when he was at his height. Maybe even the C tier. However, like I said, I'm trying to make this very objective, not as much subjective. So I'm not going to let my personal favorites get in the way. I know Grim is really a one-sided, one-way operator, but I do think he has some really good qualities. Honestly, before the buff, he's probably in the E tier, but I think after the buff, it's only fair to put him in the D tier. Hibana is without a doubt one of my favorite operators. Her gun is amazing, her Type 89, as well as her bearing. She has stun grenades, she's a great breacher. She's honestly a really good option to have. However, Ace is always going to be a better breacher than her. We're putting Hibana in the A tier. Iana is one of the most picked operators in Pro League, and there is a reason for that. She is incredible. When you use Iana correctly with her drone, with her G36C, she is just absolutely unstoppable. It's all around a really great operator. I think there's no one that can deny that Iana is made for the S tier. Now we have IQ, and speaking of the S tier, you know she belongs in there. She has the G36C, 552 Commando, and the G8A1, and I've said this so many times. Her ability is one of the most underrated in the game, and it upsets me when I see other people go IQ just because she has good guns. And don't get me wrong, that is a big reason why she belongs in the S tier, because she has 3 of some of the best guns in the game. However, her scanner, to be able to see where the defender's utility is, be able to find the bomb, whatever it may be, is so underrated. You're able to see the Capcan traps before you run into them. You're able to see the ADSs before you throw a stun. You're able to see Vigil when he puts on his ERC7. You're able to see Pulse when he's on his cardiac sensor. I could go on and on and on and on. You're able to go under the objective, if they're on the second floor, and you can see the bandit charges right above you, and you can shoot them out if there's a soft floor. IQ, without a doubt, is S tier material. Now Jackal, another one of those operators who is really, really good, but honestly he gets banned so much it's hard to consider him to be in that A or S tier. I think B tier is pretty fair. He has a really good assault rifle as well. Honestly, I think B tier is pretty fair for an operator who you hardly get to play at all in ranked. Now we have Callie. Callie, honestly, again, one of my favorites. I've always loved snipers. Like, even going back to the old Call of Duty games, I was always the guy, with the sniper. That was always me. I was the quick scoper. So honestly, Callie's one of those operators when I want to mess around. She's just really fun, and her secondary SMGs are also really, really good. So I really like Callie. However, trying to keep that objective mindset. She has an alright ability. However, so many attackers have those impact EMP grenades. So honestly, she doesn't have much of a usage outside of just having a really good sniper. And honestly, sometimes it's not even one shot. So I don't know what the point is of having a bolt action sniper that's not one shot. So Callie, sorry, you belong with your other sniper friend in the E tier. Now Lion, I've never understood the hype about him. He really is not good at all, in my opinion. Like, people have tried to tell me, like, oh, you're just playing him wrong. I don't understand how you can play Lion the correct way to even justify him being anywhere above the D tier. This dude will make the defender stand still for all of maybe 2.5 seconds, and then they can just keep on moving without any issues. I don't understand. Yeah, like, maybe you use it during a gunfight with somebody and it freezes them, but they can still, like, aim in. They can still hold a peek on you. It just makes no sense to me how Lion would be anywhere above a D tier. Granted, he does have a really good assault rifle, so I will give him that. However, it is nowhere near enough to put him anywhere above this D tier. Now, Maverick's honestly really great at, helping to get wall. He has a good M4. It's great. He used to have the grenades. Honestly, if he still had the grenades, I'd probably put him in the A tier. But I'm going to place him in the B tier. Now, this is one of those operators where if you told me he's in your A tier, I would totally understand that. And if you told me he was in your C tier, I would also understand that. He's definitely not the first option when it comes to using his fire torch to get wall. However, he's still a viable option, and he has a good gun, so I think B tier is more than fair. Montaigne, obviously, he's got to go E tier. If there's a spot underneath of E, that would be where Monty is. He's just really not good at all, and there's so many ways to counter him, and it's just really easy just to shoot at his feet, and Monty is E. I don't really think anyone's going to complain about that. Now we have Nook. Nook is not a bad operator at all, and I personally would probably put her in the B tier. However, I know her ability is really not that great, and it could be so much better, and I know she got the buff for her ability, you know, it's a longer duration and whatnot, but honestly, it's just really not there, and I see what Ubisoft was trying to do with her. It just really never got there. So I really like her FMG9 with the 1.5 scope. It's great to have her. She's not even a 3-speed, you know, she's a 2-speed. She's really not that great. Nook belongs in the C tier. Now we have Nomad, and Nomad I honestly really contemplated for a very, very long time, and I think that Nomad belongs in the A tier. And I was between the S and A tier. I was comparing her to the operators that were already in the S and A tier, and I think she is definitely a step below the likes of Ace and Ayana and IQ. However, I think she's right on the same level as some of those other, you know, the Ashe, Brava, Buck, Cabana. She's really good. She has a fantastic ability. Her air jabs are so good at being able to stop the flank, stop rotations from the defenders, and that's vital when it comes to playing ranked. The defenders rely on rotating between objectives. They rely on lurking. They rely on roaming. When playing Nomad right, you're able to cut all of that off. And on top of that, she has stuns. She has a fantastic assault rifle, and she has that cool little pistol thing that has a nice scope. So Nomad, A tier for sure. But if you're mad about her being in the A tier, trust me, I totally understand if she's like your favorite operator ever and she belongs in the S tier. I get that. For me, I'm placing her in the A tier for this. Now we have Osa. She's good. She has a good gun, but like there's not much to her. Like she kind of just has a few deployable shields that she can just take with her. They're alright, but like I really don't think there's much special to her. So I think Osa belongs in the C tier. Sense is another one of those operators. I don't love the PDW-9 enough for it to be like my primary weapon. Now when we're talking about Jackal and you have the C7E as like your primary, you know, your first option as a primary weapon, and then you have the PDW-9 as your second option for the primary weapon, that's a good loadout. However, you know, with Sense and you have the PDW-9 as like your primary, you know, your first option primary, it's just it doesn't sit right with me. It's not good enough for that. It's really I just don't think Sense has enough to her that would put her anywhere above just being mediocre. You know, it's kind of, they were definitely trying to go for that Valorant feel, and I guess it's a cool operator to play here and there, but it's really, really easy to counter. And I just don't see anything hype about her at all. I don't see anything in the meta. She's not bad. She's not good. She's C tier. Now we have Sledge, the absolute classic. When I think of Rainbow Six Siege, I think of Sledge. You can't go wrong with him. He has the L85A2. He has the 1.5 scope. He has the SMG11. Can't go wrong. So Sledge is going to be going in the A tier. Now it's time for Thatcher. I also really contemplated this one for a long time. I know I said towards the beginning of the video the EMP grenades are sort of redundant nowadays. They've sort of, you know, their worth, their value has slowly dwindled as more attackers are able, they have that same, you know, ability to use the EMPs like Cali, you know, and they have the impact EMP grenades. I know all of that, but Thatcher is he's a classic. He is still the best attacker to have when going for wall, the best attacker to combo with a breach operator. You can't go wrong with him. Again, great loadout. Thatcher has to be S tier. I know it's a basic one. You guys might come at me for that one. Come at me. I'll take it. Thatcher has to be S tier for me. Now, Thermite is definitely not as good as Ace. He's definitely not as good as Habana. So I think Thermite is going to have to go in the B tier. Of course, he's always a good, you know, he's a viable option. You know, if you need to go Thermite to get wall, that's good. However, nowadays, Ace, Habana are leading the charge, no pun intended, so I think Thermite belongs in the B tier. I like his 5.56, his gun is good. I think that keeps him in the B tier. However, he definitely does not belong on the same tier as Ace or Habana. Twitch is another one of the classics. Her F2 is definitely a piece of work when it comes to recoil. However, it is still one of my favorite guns in the game. No matter how many times they have to nerf it, I still love this gun. The F2 is fantastic, and of course, it's Twitch. She's definitely had some upgrades over the years. Her initial drone when she spawns in is no longer her Twitch drone, so she gets her regular drone on top of her shock drones. She's a great operator, but she definitely does not belong in that S untouchable tier. I think the A tier is right where she belongs. With Ying, she's one of my most played operators of all time. She's just really annoying, like, to be fair, like, as a defender. When you have those Candelas coming at you and they're just spraying and she's throwing her smokes in and she has 81 bullets in a mag, like, it's just really, really annoying. But as an attacker, it's honestly really fun. And it's easy to counter now. They have Warden and they have all the ADS possibilities to, stop the Candelas. So I don't think she belongs to be like anywhere special in that S or A tier. However, like I said, when used correctly, she's really annoying. So she belongs in that B tier. Now Zero is a great operator. He has the MP7 with a 1.5. If you would have told me right when 1.5 scopes came out that there would be an option for a 1.5 scope on a MP7, I would probably flip out and not even believe you. He has a great gun, and then he also has a great ability. You literally are able to shoot out a camera and be able to see anything on the other side, on either side, and it's a great ability, great gun, great operator. He belongs in the A tier. Now for our last operator, we have Zofia. Zofia is another one of my most played operators. However, her M762 has taken some brutal hits over the past few years. It used to be probably the best gun in the entire game, and at this point, it's hardly even a viable option. I find myself switching to the LMGE a lot of rounds whenever I do play her. However, I really like her ability. It's not Ash level, it's not Buck level, it's not Sledge level. Zofia belongs in the C tier. So yeah, that'll do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and press the playlist that's on screen now for other Rainbow Six Siege tips, tricks, map callouts, site setups, whatever it may be to help you get better at Rainbow Six Siege. I probably have a video for it. Feel free to leave comments about how much you hate or love this tier list. Honestly, like I said, I tried to make it as objective as possible, but sometimes bias has to slip in there. I plan on making a few other videos like this one, maybe a defenders one, maybe one for roamers, maybe one for anchors, support. Whatever you guys want to see next, please let me know in the comments. And besides for that, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.